Hello there, this is Raphael Darkant bringing you our first episode of a new podcast series, How Do We Get Here in the Dreams That We Dream, which will be speaking to you about how we got into gaming, our fondest moments, and content creating on a broad spectrum. We hope to help you, educate you, and inspire you on your future endeavors. I really hope you enjoy the show.
So I am Baxter, more commonly known as Becky or Away with Angels on Twitch. um, I've just started streaming maybe like a week or two ago. And I've just hit my 50 followers, so I'm trying to get affiliated, and I'm very happy with myself so far.
Absolutely awesome. So you say you did that in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
What is like your best bit of advice that you can give any sort of upcoming streamer, like to help them with starting that sort of beginning part of their journey? Like, how did you manage to achieve 50 followers immediately? 2 weeks is obviously.
I spent like a couple of weeks before I even thought of starting streaming, like networking. So I
Wow.
got in with obviously Val, Gore, you, Captain Grinner on Twitch as well, and sort of got welcomed into this little community. Supported the hell out of everyone that I could, and then obviously they've showed it back to me once I started streaming. So it's been brilliant.
Absolutely awesome. So you say that obviously like a bit of advice you can give to anyone who's upcoming and starting is networking is kind of a key part behind it.
Definitely, definitely, yeah.
Awesome. All right then. So we get Flavian to introduce himself as well.
Flavianen without an L. It's perfect. Yeah, my name is Favianen on Twitch. And yeah, Valgor sitting there. Ooh. And I have been streaming for about actually 2 months, but the last 2 weeks have been intense. So yeah, not a long time yet.
That's still pretty good though.
But
So
I'm
on the same sort of lines as Becky then, Away with Angels. So with the whole, that's pretty impressive. How did you manage to kind of like gain the footing that you've gained so quickly?
I have never been into Twitch, or I have never watched other streamers on a long terms. So it was pretty hard at the beginning. I was just playing directly from my PlayStation and streaming through there. But as things goes by, I turned into Twitch, watched a couple of streamers, and I have no complaining. I love to chat with people, so I was just engaging in the chat, and one day it just turned. Obviously, I met you, Raf, and some other streamers, and just chatting, just having a nice time, and the photos just began to pop in. So that was actually amazing. I already have 3-4 viewers who is there the most of the time. So that wasn't the problem. For me, the problem was the followers. But as Angel said, when you start networking, it's one of the things you have to do.
Yeah,
It will gain you so much, so
for real,
much.
for real. So if you can give like any sort of advice to anyone who's like new and upcoming and stuff like that, like what's your like your main sort of piece of go-to advice would go to help them out?
My starting advice will be: it's pretty hard at the beginning, but if you like it, if you love it, just keep doing it. In the beginning, it's pretty hard. You have one, maybe two viewers every time, and you're just sitting there. Okay, I'm boring, but actually you're not. Your channel just isn't promoted yet. So just keep on going, keep on fighting for what you love.
That's probably a very strong way to start that one for real. Definitely. All right then, Mr. Valgor, Mr. Bearded Viking, Mr. Sex God himself. Just give us a little introduction of who you are.
Hello there. My name is Jay. Better known as Valgor Wolfsbane. I started streaming at the end of June. Like Fabian, I was maybe having 2, 3 viewers, not even that. every other stream. I didn't actually start taking it seriously until I was introduced to Discord groups. One in particular, the Twitch fam. From there, again, like Beck, I managed to network with other streamers, meeting new people, building friendships, expanding the my community, and that's it's been growing ever since. I like Fabian, I started streaming off my PlayStation, then using the laptop for my overlay while streaming off the PlayStation. Then I bought my rig, and ever since then, everything's been growing exponentially. Like my confidence in streaming, my quality of the streams, and the games been playing as well. So yeah, it's been a hell of a journey so far.
Oh, that's absolutely awesome to hear. So if you can give any sort of advice to any sort of like upcoming or new streamer, like what would you give as a piece of advice to help them start?
My main piece of advice is to not compare yourself to others, because what a lot of people don't realize is, even though, say if you've got 200-300 followers, even not that, we're all in different stages of our journey, and everyone doesn't do this the same way. So you can't look at another streamer's viewers and say, oh, why have they got 20, 30, 40 viewers when I'm here with 4 or 5 viewers? But it's important just to focus on, well, networking is so important, so key. Putting your name out there in other people's chats, engaging with them, because people in their community, along with the streamer themselves, are more likely to say, "Yo, this person's been dead supportive. Let's check them out, or give them a shout out in the chat." So that's important. Also, as well, to take pieces of other people's content, their channel, just take elements of that and try and apply it to yourself, because you being unique is important on Twitch, but also it's not a terrible thing to say, you know what, I like that, I might use that in my stream as well.
That's a really good kind of valid point along with that as well. So would you also say, with that sort of like mindset as well, is there some sort of winning formula that you can use to help get yourself more noticed out there, as well as trying to like maintaining almost like a figure of yourself as well, without being kind of absorbed into a bit like almost copycatting?
I think the main thing is obviously using social networking, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, anything you have at your disposal to try and promote your channel. But also on Twitch itself, particularly with the networking side of things, don't be trying to post your Twitch link in other people's chats. That's not going to fly. But just being an active member in other streamers' communities, particularly ones that are at a similar stage as you, might enable you to open up a pathway to becoming, like, networking with those people. So I was, as I said before, I was lucky enough to join the Twitch fam. So I instantly had a foot into networking with other streamers, because that was what it was designed to do, is to help other streamers hit their goals, hit their targets, and to grow together as a community. But being a part of something, it's like, don't be afraid of don't be afraid of artificial growth.
Okay.
That's okay. So I think that's the general gist of the advice I would be able to give.
Yeah, that's I think that's quite a nice little like nugget of information there as well for all of that. Thank you very much. So obviously on the same kind of note as like networking and kind of like artificial growth and stuff like that. Becky, do you kind of like, do you feel that there's a wrong way to be able to network, or sort of like have like artificial growth in a certain way? And what is also your definition of artificial growth?
I think there's going to be a right and wrong way to network. Like as Valgor said, like throwing your Twitch linking into other people's chats and things like that is obviously the wrong way to do it. So I sort of just popped into people's streams and just said hi, and picked up a conversation with them. Like when I first popped into one of your streams, Raf, you made me feel so amazingly welcome, even though you didn't even know who I was. You were asking me questions and you were engaging with me, and that's the benefit of going into smaller streamers as opposed to jumping into streams that have thousands of viewers, because you're not going to get noticed as much in the chat.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you support streamers that are smaller, they're going to appreciate it a lot more, and they're also going to offer you the support in return, especially if you say like, oh, like I did, I was like, oh, I'm wanting to get into streaming, but I want to pick up tips. So that sort of let everyone know that I want to stream at some point, but I'm not too sure about it yet, and I just want some advice and some tips on how to get into it. And more often than not, the streaming community will, reach out their hand and offer you any advice that they're willing to give, and give you that foothold that you might need to get into it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think obviously when it comes down to like smaller streamers, not so much like collaborating so much, but I think it's definitely helpful to have this like peer-to-peer sort of help, any sort of hints and tricks, anything like, we can help to kind of guide anyone else. I think it's really important to kind of help grow, because, being fully creative is quite difficult in such a highly saturated and highly competitive sort of market as well. But yeah, no, thank you very much for that. So, Fabian, so what got you into gaming, my guy? Like, what was it that really kind of spurred you on to games? And what was your first game that you ever played on what console as well?
Ref, I think shouldn't we have you? What about you? Who are you?
I'm an entity that exists.
Let's hear about Raphael Darkart. Come on.
We just need. We can take the other question afterwards. We just need. Yeah. It's your podcast. Who are you?
Yeah, we've all had our introductions, Raph.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a shy small boy. I like to hide in the background. I like to conduct these.
Yeah, really.
Hey, my name is Raphael Darkart. God, how's it all start? How did So. It started for me in October of last year. Actually, no, I think it kind of started a lot later, like a lot earlier than that. I think it was like more like when the first UK lockdown happened. I started producing small tidbits on YouTube and stuff like that. And then as my kind of confidence grew, I then decided to shelter outwards to kind of go towards Twitch and stuff like that as well. And the whole thing behind my brand is helping others. So either it's achieving greatness in small steps to making them feel like this isn't a scary sort of thing to do, because obviously like when it comes down to streaming, like it is so much content, cream soda, in my life, because obviously when it comes down to like streaming stuff, it's such a highly competitive and saturated market, and you kind of get there and you feel like you're automatically overwhelmed. Like, how do I even get a footing? How do I even start? Which obviously, like, I highly agree with everyone. Well, everyone's already said as well. Like, networking is 100%, a necessity. But the worst part is, like, networking as a whole is like no one really knows how to network or what is networking. It's kind of just sat there as as something we need to do, but we don't know the right way to kind of take forward. But yeah, like it all started like properly on Twitch in October, and we've been hitting steady strides in everything from like inspiring people to producing interesting content, especially with the latest mass spammage that we've managed to achieve with our sound bites. Which broke me as a streamer as well as chat, I think. But yeah, I think as an introduction, I think that'll do. That'll do. Nice little one there. Let's sit down.
It's perfect.
that I'll say it again. That moment on your stream when you forgot to put a cooldown on the sound alert. So at that time I had about 10,000 channel points, so I was
Yeah.
like, yep, spam, 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 spam. It broke me. It broke me several times. I loved it.
Yeah.
I just turned back to your stream, Raf, when Valgot just have started that. I thought, that's a good idea. I will try too.
I think both like Valgor, Fev, and Jai just spammed like I don't know a good
Yeah.
couple of thousand points into those.
The fact that they're only 80 points each as well, and I'm sat here with 10,000 points going, if he doesn't put a cooldown on this, this is my evening.
But that's moments who will be remembered.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm glad we've managed to save both of those clips. I'm going to try and edit them together and post them up on somewhere to say, you know, this is why I can't have nice things.
Why we have cooldowns.
This is why we have cooldowns. Yeah, like back onto the question that you was asking, how did we get into? I think that's more than just being like, singled out on this one. Like, how did we get into gaming? Like, what is our like earliest moments and fondest memories of gaming? Like, when did we start? On what console? And what game was it?
My first console was actually an Xbox 360.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was. I had a couple of PS1 and PS2s, but it wasn't there the gaming for me started. It was fun and all that, but I was too young at that time to understand. Okay, this is a big world. So that was FIFA. On Xbox 360, I actually played Call of Duty, Modern
Okay.
Warfare, and that was pretty cool. Then I tried my mate's PlayStation 3 with Rocket League on, and that's where it started. I'm still into that game. I still play it, and it's perfect. Just catch me. I bought a PS4 afterwards instead of Xbox, and have played PlayStation ever since. Now I just bought a PC, so it's computer games also now. But yeah, I'm still more into PlayStation actually. Games on PlayStation, it had its charm.
Mm.
It's just something special for me. So that's how the gaming started for me.
That's fair enough. So it all kind of started on. Oh, sorry. 1 second, guys. I do apologise.
At the moment, I
This is
thought
a
it was
podcast.
yeah, very professional.
Imagine leaving your phone on loud whilst recording the first episode of a podcast.
Oh,
Good gravy.
That's remembered me. So now mine is quiet too.
Mine was already on silent. By the way,
Yeah, perfect.
that is my beautiful wife.
Oh, Mrs.
Stunning.
Wolfbane.
I know.
Absolutely stunning.
Yeah. Wife, come. Well, I don't have a wife.
You have a roommate. That's better.
Yeah, but he's streaming right
I
now,
have a
so
mom.
can't actually call on him. Yeah. At the beginning, I thought it was Valgor's nut button. I know it's not a nut button. Did
No,
Raph get a
it's not
button?
Not, therefore, it's not a no button.
Yeah, it wasn't a nut button.
What's the story of your nut button?
That's actually
Yeah.
quite an interesting one. When I got my first ever Twitch payout, it was a case of right. I want to invest in the stream, but I think at the time
Oh, yes.
actually needed a new microphone. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna wait because the microphone I wanted, which is the one I have now, the Audio Technica AT2020 USB Plus. Try saying that 5 times drunk. Is
Hmm.
I think it was 165, something like that. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna treat myself to something because I've had my first payout, so you know I want to do something nice. So I was actually flicking through Amazon, and at the time I was watching another streamer who I haven't watched recently, called Rickety Cricket, and he has a nut button in his channel. I was like, bro, I need me one of these. So I went on Amazon and looked. It was like 20 quid, £20. Am I gonna spend 20 British sterling pounds on a nut button?
Oh yeah.
Damn right I am. So I think I brought it in one stream and chat blew up. It's like, oh my god, this is amazing.
A
And
tradition was born.
yeah, I think we actually had done one of the drunk streams, and what I like to do is shots for subs. So I think we hit the sub goal, not sub goal, the sub level where you can get a new emote slot. So I said, you know what, we're gonna have a nut button emote, and ever since then, people love spamming the nut button emotes.
I'm sorry, I can't help it.
I mean, it's the one reason you sub to me. It's like, yo, just need this.
Not
need this
two,
in my
but one
life.
of them. One of them.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's the story of the nut button.
I think that's probably gonna be one of the best purchases I think anyone's ever made for their stream. Has to be the nut. So I think obviously it goes hardware, software, all that sort of stuff. I think the nut button is generally probably one of the best purchases that people have made for that. And then also, like, you know, finding out a bit more about the buttons as well. There are so many of them. There isn't just a nut button. You got a yeet button. There's a couple other sound bites as well you can get for it.
There's a bruh
Is
button.
there an uwu button?
Sure, we could
And
find
there
one.
are actually buttons you can purchase. You can record onto them, and then obviously when you press the button, it'll play the soundbite of the recording. So
Oh, rød grød med fløde.
yes, yes.
Smash a nut
By
in
the way,
that one.
I'm just I'm from Denmark, so that's why I have a weird accent and language.
He wasn't having a fit. That's Danish.
Yeah, that is Danish.
Beautiful, complex, amazing language.
Not worthy, not worthy.
It's like word gravy. It's delicious. You need it.
Actually, Valgo and we plan to make dinner times once in a week, just so he can hear the beautiful Danish.
Pour it on my dinner.
just imagine that. Just imagine
Oh,
like a
thank
candlelight sort of like Discord cam chat where it's just Bavi reciting poetry in Danish and Valgor just having his eyes roll into the back of his head.
Det er lige hvad det er. Det kan vi sagtens lave. Det er helt okay. Det yeah, exactly.
That was velvetly smooth.
Delicious.
Absolutely. Alright, so where did we get up to with the questions? I'm sorry, that doorbell kind of knocked me through
How
a loop.
did we start gaming?
Yeah.
That was your doorbell.
That was my doorbell, yeah.
I
That was
thought
my
that was your
doorbell.
phone.
No, that's my doorbell. It's an Amazon package. My housemate did like leave a note saying, "Oh, by the way, I got Amazon package coming." I gave them the text back saying, "You do realize that I'm busy today?" They're like, "Well, doorbell's still gonna ring." We had that.
They'll
All
come
right.
in, so you know.
Yeah, like, so Becky, like, how did you get into gaming? Like, what was your first console? What was your most favorite moment, and who was your the character you kind of got most emotionally attached to?
My first console was the Xbox 360, but I did start off with Game Boy Advance, playing Pokemon and Mario when I was tiny, like a tiny little kid. But I remember getting my first Xbox for Christmas when I was about 13. And the story of how I got it is crazy. I'd been bugging my mum for one for months. And I opened one of my presents and there was an Xbox with 360 written on top of it. And I just looked at her and I was like, what is this? And she went, it's the Xbox 360. You said you wanted it. And I was just like, my god. Why would you do this to me? And then she came downstairs with a massive 360 box and I was on the floor in tears.
Bless.
But back when I was younger, I was really into racing games. So Need for Speed Carbon was my game of choice, and I got so into it that I decided, you know what, I'm gonna race in an amateur competition, and I ended up winning, which was kind of cool. So that was back on Forza back in the day.
Wow.
So that was amazing.
Crazy.
And I've been pretty much attached to my Xbox ever since. But one of the games... Sorry.
No, it's fine. So when you say you're attached to your Xbox, are you not planning on going the PS4 route? Can we not convince you or corrupt you that PS4
I have a PlayStation, but it's mostly just for like the exclusives at the minute. So like God of War and like Horizon Zero Dawn.
I mean,
I play on it a lot.
there are two types of people in this world. There are people who prefer PlayStation, and those people who are wrong.
Totally agree to that.
Okay, right, I think we have to work on convincing Away with Angels here that the PS4 may be.
It's very early on, so I think we'll make a believer out of her. Give us time. Give us
There's
time.
3 people in here and 1 wrong.
Okay. That's wonderful. So obviously, like, is there any like big sort of games that you're looking forward to now? Obviously, like the whole racing sort of thing. Or are you planning to go down like the racing simulator sort of rig as well down the line?
I haven't raced since I was about 16, 17. Just because back when I started doing it, it got really toxic because I was obviously a female trying to get into this very male-dominated world of racing games and car games. So
Female wanting to play racing games. Who would imagine such a thing?
So when I won that race, there was like a small cash prize that went with it, and I couldn't get it because they genuinely didn't believe that I wasn't the one that was racing. They thought that I had one of my male friends sat next to me racing for me, and I was just there on the voice channel.
Wow.
So that sort of was like, it was that point that I was like, I can't be in this racing community anymore because it completely crushed everything that I was excited about and happy about doing it. So I haven't honestly touched racing games really since I was like 16, 17.
Okay, there's something you were looking to get into now, because obviously as like the whole dynamics change for gaming and stuff like that, and female gamers now becoming more and more prevalent, is it something you'll be looking to get into again? Racing sort of like community and stuff like that?
Possibly. Obviously I'd have to just dip my toes in and just see how much it's changed since then. Because obviously I know now that female gamers are quite a big community now. And especially some of the people that are in like the Twitch fam and everything like that are very strong female gamers that don't stick to like the gamer girl sort of stereotype of getting your boobs out on stream and being overly cute and adorable just for the views.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't think anyone could have said that any better, at all. Oh, right. That's a nice little backstory into how you got into gaming. And it's a bit of a shame that obviously like having someone's hopes and dreams crushed by a bunch of a very small population of gamers as well. Like that is something that we're going to need to have to change, I think, as the figureheads here in this podcast. So Valgor, give us your introduction, my dude. I'm pretty sure you're going to stretch further back when it comes down to the first gaming console.
Oh, we are. We're going all the way back to my first gaming memory, which was playing Sega Mega Drive. Or was it the Master System? It was an old Sega console anyway. And we played, it was like a bundle. It had Sonic the Hedgehog and Columns. Columns was an amazing game. Loved Columns. It's like Tetris but worse. And obviously Sonic the Hedgehog, you know, one of the most influential like characters in all of gaming. But my first actual console was a PS1 Mini, the miniature version of the PS1. And the game that I fell in love with that got me into gaming as a whole was Final Fantasy IX. Now, it's popular belief that Final Fantasy VII is the best, and it's hard to dispute that. It's the most popular, but for me personally, 9 had more captivating characters, the story was engaging, the aesthetic was amazing. The gameplay as a whole, having your characters have individual traits and abilities, made it that tactically in battle you'd have to arrange your characters in a certain way that I spent hundreds of hours playing through that game several times, and that's that's what made me from, liking playing game to being a gamer. Since I got married and had a family, priorities have changed, so I couldn't game as much. I've always had a console of some kind. I've always been able to play games. One of my favorites over the last 8 years has been FIFA. Every year I'd get FIFA. Every year I'd go career mode. Bunch of youngsters in a low-level team, get them up to the Premiership, win the Champions League several hundred times. And that's the whole gist of it. But yeah, as a whole though, RPGs like made me fall in love with games. It's just being able to immerse yourself in a world, put yourself in another character's situation, and using your abilities to get you through that experience is just, I think that's what makes gaming so amazing, is losing yourself in a game.
No, absolutely, yeah, for real.
Yeah.
I think like video games for us is like what book people like to read, like their books when they kind of go to fantasy book stuff like that. They get lost in that whole literature. They create an entire new world in their minds by reading a few pages. For us, it's played out in a disc format. Like that's pretty good. So like you say that what kind of character did you form your first emotional attachment to? Was it be Sonic, or would it be something else?
It's funny. The first character I had probably an emotional attachment to, following their story, was in Final Fantasy IX. There is the captain of the guards called Adelbert Steiner, and he starts off as a very straightforward, by the book kind of character, swords to protect the throne. As the story goes on, and he turns out, the queen is actually a bad person, he becomes conflicted. So then, as the story progresses on, his loyalty then becomes to his friends. And there is a romance as well between him and another member of like the royal guards called Beatrix, who, by the way, for a computer game character, wow. And yeah, that's that. Like, I don't know why, but I kind of love his story and how it develops, more so than the main character Zidane and his romance with Dagger/Garnet. So yeah, I love, Steiner for me was a character that I really admire and felt a real emotional attachment to.
That's really quite a cool one. I think Final Fantasy has always been one of those sorts of games that has always managed to kind of make you feel. It's never the story's always been so gripping, so enticing, so absorbing. Like you physically, you can't help but get latched onto the game, no matter how difficult they got. For real.
It's so long as well, because for the PS1, Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 all on 3 or more discs. Final Fantasy 9 itself is on 4 discs. So back in the day, when you'd get to a certain point in the game, it would tell you to change over to a different disc. And that's how long these games are. So, say when I spent hundreds of hours playing these games, going through them several times, and I really did. they are amazing.
For real. Like, I miss those kind of like those sorts of days when you actually had to change the discs over. Obviously, as technology's kind of progressed forward, you need less discs or no discs at all.
I actually still think I've got my original copy of Final Fantasy 9 somewhere in the.
I would keep hold of that, because that might be something, as a collector's edition, like down the line, for real. Like, you might get. You could.
The sentimental value is too high.
Oh, that's very true.
So high.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I think when it comes down to gaming starting for me, first console that I played was Sega Mega Drive, and that was Mortal Kombat. Got absolutely thrashed because I probably would have been something in the region of 8, I think, when I would have played the Sega Mega Drive. Moved on to the PS1. Obviously, we had a modified PS1 because they were all the rage back then. And the first game that I played on that would have been Resident Evil into, I think it was Fight Night, where you could create an alien boxer, which was Yeah. I know you're looking really strange at that one. Yeah, he was. He was kind of like a hidden character within the modified PS1. But I think like when I started taking gaming more seriously, I was probably in my teens, in high school, where I played Oblivion for the first time, and on the 360 I played Oblivion and I crushed it. I absolutely smashed it. I think it's also the first game that I completed as well. 100% got all the achievements, all the gamer points for it. I spent hundreds of hours playing that, and that's kind of like spurred on the sort of like my highly competitive side as well. And then all the way through college, I went into minor league tournaments with friends and stuff like that. Random tournaments that were set up that my friends kind of heard. I was like, "Yo, you should come with us because you spend a lot of time on this game. We need a fifth person. Come and join us." And it kind of like lit up for me as to join in on the whole really highly competitive side. Even to the point that we managed to, like, me and my old gaming group managed to also get to the qualifying rounds of League of Legends back in season 3. Like we were really season 2. We were really good as a team, but unfortunately, on that battle to get into there, we lost. So we weren't even able to kind of scratch into the actual main tournament for it, which was a real shame. But yeah, like that's when it all kind of started for me. And I think as for like emotional attachment to a character, I think it has to be Master Chief when I played through the Halo series.
Oh, that's a good one.
I think it has to be him, because like when you kind of play through that entire thing, like you wake up out of absolutely nowhere, snapped out of a deep freeze into an alien war that you have absolutely no clue about at all. People getting destroyed.
Walk again.
Yeah,
just come out and just take, like, just walk a little bit. Right, here's a gun. Go kill stuff. Okay.
I think and as I say, as the whole series kind of went on from 1 all the way through down to 5, it has been one very massive like roller coaster for the poor guy. Even to the point of I've actually done research and had listened to the old audiobooks from about the whole Spartans and how they're created, how they're made, what happens to them, and it's really quite daunting to say the least. But yeah, I think that for me, that's like the one that's my earliest sort of gaming memory. I think my favorite genre has to be RTSs, making and creating armies and then just going in there and smashing the opposition. Generally that's the thing that's definitely keeps me entertained. Real. So as we kind of like concluded our introductions and what's gotten into into gaming and stuff like that, what is our current sort of views on current generation and last generation consoles? Obviously, Favi here has got a PS5. So,
Yep.
You beat him to the punch. He wanted to do the weird flex. He was like, "Well, I've got PS5."
You gotta love it.
Disposable income.
You gotta enjoy it when others can't get their hands on one, eh?
Yeah.
I want a PS5, just buy it. You can't. Ha! You see?
I'm surprised he hasn't got it sat next to him, just like, yeah.
Surprised
You
the
can
camera
just
hasn't.
move. Let it move around there.
Yeah,
Wait.
there it
Like
is.
that
Wait.
Oh,
Oh my god, just sitting there. Oh, I want that so much.
Yeah, see his face. This is my salty face.
So, what's our current views on like gaming consoles and how well they've progressed throughout the years as well? Like, are we happy with the current progression with what they're offering and the current like way that they perform, or are we kind of hoping for more retro based games and stuff like that? Obviously, as the gaming technology has increased, I have tend to found that the game's difficulty as a whole has lessened. I tend to find out I had more issues and more troubles with some of those retro games. It took me longer to complete them than I have done now with more recent sort of Action pack. Yeah, what's everyone's
Do you mean
Yeah,
views on?
playing
agree.
them as an adult? You mean playing them as an adult now?
I think so. Yeah, I think because obviously like, when it comes to like the whole Crash Bandicoot, for instance, I still struggle with Crash Bandicoot now than like as much as I did when I was a kid, and I can almost like flawlessly crush a. Like, for instance, I was playing Destiny last night, and there's a new mission that came out, which was like 1230 light level. I was 30 light higher than it, and I managed to get to the boss solo relatively easily. It's just the puzzles took a bit of time. Um, so yeah, it's like what's everyone's kind of thoughts on the whole thing?
I think to your point, the retro games are harder.
Mm.
A few months ago, when my original PS4, the HDMI port broke, so I had to switch to streaming my PS3 through the capture card,
Right.
which worked surprisingly well. So I had a retro gaming series where I'd play all the games. I went to a local shop called CEX, spent about £15 on like 7 games, and
Nice.
yeah, I went through. One of them was the Sega Mega Collection, which in itself has probably roughly 15, 20 games on it, all the Sonics on it. So I said, right, I'm gonna play Sonic because you know what? I'm a grown ass man now. I could probably breeze through these.
Nope.
Nope.
Just
Nope.
forget it. Forget it.
I was complete garbage. I thought, what's happening here? I used to be really good at Sonic. I completed Sonic quite a few times with lives to spare. Now I can barely get past, the third zone. The third world, whatever it was. Like, I'm trash. So, I completely agree with all the games being more difficult, even as a grown up. I don't think it's anything to do with as we grow older, our reflexes get slower. It's like dexterity. Don't think it's that at all. I think it's games to be more broader have to be easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
I think that's the main thing.
But I also think there's a lot of gaming. Those who make the games are making them for everyone, not just adults or childs, but everyone have to get the chance to complete them. And I also think that that's a point of making them now in these days, where everyone is offended by
It's inclusionist.
something. Yeah, exactly.
It's. I think Nintendo themselves have really cornered the market of, right, family, you're all together, let's play this game. Like Mario,
Mhm.
Yep. Mario
Um,
Kart, Mario Party, Mario
yeah, all these
everything.
different games. Is like everyone's included. Even grandma can get on this. It's obviously at the moment, because we're in lockdown. People can't actually physically get together. They've still got that section of the market completely nailed down. I know PlayStation have tried and failed miserably.
Xbox the same.
Mm.
Yeah.
When it comes down to the whole the like family games and party games and stuff like that. I think you're quite right. The whole Nintendo have really kind of smashed out, even from like the beginning part of the Wii, where party games became more prevalent. You had 4 controllers, you had the ability to sit down as as a group and couch co-op and stuff like that. I feel like as
Wii
kind of
Sports.
Wii Sports as well, yeah,
I mean,
and
that game amazing.
the Sonic versus Mario Olympics as well. Like that was really fun, just for a kind of mash up with your friends. But yeah, I think another thing that's kind of fizzled out as time progressed is couch co-op play. Like you generally can't.
Mhm.
There's not many games out there now that you can just kind of pick up and sit down with your friends. You actually have to have the internet, or you have to have separate consoles. You can't just all play off just one now. Well, which is a real shame when it comes down to trying to get new people into gaming.
Yep.
The kind of games where, as you say, you could sit down, start playing, and the arcade style where player 2 can press start and join in as their character. You can't have that. It's everything now because everyone's so reliant on fast speed broadband.
Yeah.
You can't have that experience anymore.
No.
As a whole, I think that maybe some smaller games that I can't recall off the top of my head that have that kind of experience, but I'm drawing a blank completely. In the past few years, anyway, that I've offered that kind of experience.
Actually,
Yeah.
the one game which PlayStation actually hit on that party section was the boss stuff to PlayStation. The little bosses with a red button and some small buttons, and you have these party games. That was
Yes.
actually pretty good. That was actually pretty good. I have to admit
like
it.
the
Yeah,
game show type game. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
that was
Yeah.
actually pretty fun party games and sit together family games. The Ape Wars and Monkey Wars and Boss Stars and so on. They were actually pretty good.
There is one game in particular on the PlayStation which is a pretty fun party game, which we don't play often because, again, lockdown.
Mm.
You can't all sit in the living room and play this game on, but it connects via your phone.
Yeah, I
You
have it
download
too.
the app
Wow.
and then you play it through your phone. It's that, again, modern technology has enabled that kind of, because you don't have to have a specific controller, a thing that plugs into the console to be able to play the game. Now you can just use your phone and the app with
Yeah.
maybe
I think it's
being on
called
the same
PlayLink.
Wi-Fi.
I think it's called PlayLink.
Hmm.
The whole setup. There are 3 games, I think.
That's quite
That's
impressive.
called That's You.
Yeah, That's You is one of them, but there are 2 more actually. Approximately the same. They're pretty nice.
That's pretty cool. As a whole. So obviously, a ways. Like, have you? Is party games like more down your sort of avenue? Like, what's your sort of thoughts of, like, couch play and how it's, in some people's eyes fizzled out? Like,
It has really over the last few years, especially since I back in the day I used to rely on playing games like Portal 2, the couch co-op in that. Whenever I had friends over, that was always a great hit to play with people. Until people got really annoyed with me because I played it through about 1 million times and knew everything backwards.
I was about to say, was that sentence supposed to say before I had friends around, or was it before I had friends?
oof.
I had
Oof.
friends.
I have friends.
Oh, I
But,
realize. No, just continue.
Okay.
But since I've sort of upgraded to like Xbox One and then the Series X, there are not that many games that you can couch co-op anymore. Like literally, I can't think of any at all. And especially when it comes to Xbox, the amount of party games, there's not really that many, except for maybe like Monopoly for the Xbox is the only one that I can think of off the top of my head right now. So as Valgo was saying, it does rely more now on having that internet connection, having, your memberships to Xbox or PlayStation to be able to play online with your friends. And I think that has changed the scope of gaming quite a bit over the last few years, especially.
Yeah, for real. Like, what, as a collective here, like, what makes us think why it's changed so drastically? Like, why has it gone from being, as Velgor said, the arcade mode where your friend can slap the start button at any point, to not having that in the slightest? Like, well, what makes you think that, how the marketing's changed for it all? Like, why it has such a drastic sort of 180?
I think it's that advancement in technology. It must have been back 15 years ago. We didn't even have, well, as a whole, fast speed broadband. And I don't know if any of you guys are old enough to remember dial-up, where
Mm-hmm.
you literally have to dial it up on the PC, it would make these bleeping sounds. Then you would have internet, and even then, it would take half an hour to download an image, take 2 hours to download a song. Like internet was in its infancy was very slow and clunky, but when broadband came around, everyone was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Mm.
And then high speed broadband came, and all of a sudden, all this opportunity opened up for game developers because now instead of being on the couch playing these games, you now had an opportunity to play through a server. So you can meet up with your friends on the game and then play without even having to leave the room.
Yeah, I think kind of like the advancement of technology in this one has definitely kind of shot us in the foot when it comes down to socializing with friends and having those sort of those moments before. Because as as I was kind of scoping through like a few images and stuff like that, I remember LAN parties when you used to connect up your consoles with like LAN wires to try and get those massively multiplayer sort of games. Real, and
You
then
go around to your friend's house with your console in your bag,
yeah,
order pizza and
Mhm.
trying to
and play till 3, 4 a.m. in the morning playing on Halo duos. Yeah,
yeah,
I remember those kind of days.
having some like really janky rigs, like you're pretty sure could spark electrical fire. But yeah, it's kind of like I like the fact that it's become more convenient that you don't have to meet up with your friends, as adulting happens, and as Valko said, as you kind of get a family and stuff like that, you don't have to try and find time both of you to kind of overlap to be able to play games together. But I think equally as well, it kind of takes those special moments away where you can't sit there and enjoy the same sort of the same sort of feel behind it. I think it's now become almost like a bit of a lonesome scenario to be into the whole gaming sort of thing. Yeah, that kind of brings me to like content creating as a whole. How did we get into it? What's our kind of goals? Where are we planning on going? Why did we kind of go down this path? Do you want to
I'll
start?
start.
Yeah. You want to start?
I actually worked this out the other day because we talked about it before we recorded, and I couldn't pinpoint the date. I actually pinpointed the date. June 28th last year is my first official stream.
Wow.
I think I had a 0.3 average, and I got into streaming as a whole because of lockdown.
Okay.
Our country went into a very long period of not being able to do anything. My main hobby before this was playing Magic the Gathering. And when the local game shops closed down, I had a lot of free time. So I discovered Twitch. Other people in my play group were kind of toying with the idea and experimented with it. And I thought, you know what? I like gaming online. I might as well give this a crack as well. And I did it maybe 2-3 times a week. Didn't really have a knack for it. Didn't network. Had no idea the amount of work you had to put in to be able to get views. I was complacent. I was kind of in my infancy when it comes to being a content creator because I didn't know how much actual input you had to put into it until, as I said, I joined the Twitch fam. I not only got the support in the sense of people coming into my streams and supporting me that way, I also had a lot of inputs, a lot of advice, a lot of different aspects to making your content as engaging, as crisp as possible. So, watch it. Advice like watching back your VODs, constantly adding things, taking things away, changing up things. It was really that point where I felt like I could really do something with this. And to answer your question, what are my goals in streaming? Up until recently, this is my hobby. This is something I love to do in my spare time. But I've come to the realization that if I keep doing this, if I keep trying hard at this, who's to say that I can't make it?
Absolutely.
Who's
Absolutely.
who's to say that I don't have what it takes to grow my community, to attract new people to my stream, to engage them in my content, and to do this more, to do this longer. So I haven't I set myself a goal this year to grow, hit 500 followers, to get my average up to 10. But that's changed. I haven't set myself a goal because I don't want to plateau. I want to keep building. I want to keep growing. It was actually Raf himself who got me into that mindset, because what he said to me, said to all of us, is we are our own limiters.
Mm.
We are the only ones who can stop ourselves from achieving our goals, our dreams. So, and for that, Raf, I want to personally thank you, because
Me too.
you know,
Yeah, no, thank you.
I wouldn't have gotten myself to think that way if it wasn't for you absolutely smashing it into my head that I'm talking nonsense and I need to stop thinking that way.
Yeah, no, yeah, for real. And I think, I was about to ask you the same question. It's like, what changed your opinion from turning it into a minor hobby into now looking into like a broader spectrum of it all?
You.
Yeah.
You're the one that changed my mind about it.
Short and quick answer.
I wanna say that I find it cringeworthy. Sorry, I find it cringeworthy when I watch back my VODs,
Yeah,
because I can't stand the sound of my own voice. I can't stand it. It grates me. But I watched back my Among Us VOD from Wednesday,
mm-hmm.
and that is the first time I genuinely sat there and I thought, you know what, this is pretty good. And that's for me, that's a personal achievement, that if I can sit here and enjoy my own content, then that really put things into perspective. And that, since then, I've had a huge boost in confidence about what I'm doing, because if I can entertain myself, then why can't I entertain more people? So yeah,
No,
definitely for
real.
sure, that was a big wake up moment for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, and so obviously when it comes down to like critical work, and kind of try and get in English. Just please bear with me. So when it comes down to like critiquing your own work, do you think as content creators it's very important to sit there and watch your own sort of stuff back to kind of find ways to adapt, or do you think it'd be better to kind of have that sort of, I don't know, allow the general public to almost do it for us, or allow them to critique our work? What's the pros and cons of having that?
No, you absolutely need to watch back your own stuff, even if you just watch back snippets.
Mm.
Like if you watch back, say if there was a particular moment in the stream, or say if you were playing COD or Apex or Fortnite and you thought, oh my god, we got a dub in that game, I want to clip it. You obviously need to go back to watch your thing and clip it yourself.
Mm.
So that enables you to watch back your own content, because if you can't watch your own content, why should other people? Why would anyone else want to watch it when you personally don't want to watch it? You obviously you're the streamer, so you're going to be in it a lot.
Yeah,
But you need to be able to watch yourself back.
absolutely. Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
I think that is so important. And it, like, watching your own stuff back as well enables you to nitpick. Like, for example, I have intro and an outro of my stream. I still mess it up sometimes because I get so excited, I bundle my lines. But 9 times out of 10, I will nail my intro and my outro to my stream, because then you gain consistency. You have a pattern of things.
Yeah,
Being able to welcome people into your stream with articulate, like, big energy, big emotion, makes you think, "Whoa, this guy's awesome! Like this is amazing." And then in the outro to keep everyone hyped for the raid and keep people in for the raid, I think is also very important. Like hitting key points, like we'll be back this time, we'll be playing this, such and such.
Mm.
So I wouldn't have been able to have developed that if it wasn't for me watching back my stuff. So to your actual question, yes, you should watch back your stuff.
That's that's pretty good to be able to hear that as well for as a bit of advice. So Favi, what kind of started you on your adventures, my guy?
I will just quick say I will take that advice from Valko. Watch back your stuff because I'm literally in the same boat as Valko was before Wednesday. I hate my own voice at stream. My Danish voice. I never heard my English voice, but I can imagine it's much worse than my Danish. So that's why, yeah, I've never done it, never ever. But I will try it out. I will try it out after Monday. I will try it out.
Okay.
But yeah, I love gaming, and I love I love gaming, and I love to chat with other people.
Okay.
That's why I'm most into competitive games, actually, where I can play with friends or against people I can talk to, and so on. I love the gaming, but when I'm home alone and just playing alone, I'm not that into it actually. I need someone to talk to. If it's through my chat, it's fine. And I thought, okay, I want to try to make some content. I have gamed a lot. You can always get the dub if you want. But now I will have some fun with the gaming stuff instead. So I will try to make fun of the game actually. Try to make some pretty fun games for myself, but also for the viewers actually. When I hit the affiliate, I also make some channel redemptions who will give me a very hard time playing the fucking game, but it turns out to be pretty fun. I tried it once or two times, and it's just perfect, and the chat is just having a good time too. And that's what really got me into the gaming stuff, the streaming stuff, in this aspect. And I just see now my first streaming day was December the 17th. Yeah.
December the 17th. Jeez.
Yes. Yeah, the 20, but the 17th of December last year was the
Crazy.
first stream I got. So, and the average view was on 0.9.
Wow.
But that's a start.
Nice.
That's a start. My top viewers is 8.2 now, so that's perfect. It if you really want it, you can do it. Just remember that.
Definitely. If you want it, go do it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think that kind of drives home the point that that Valgor made. We are our own limiters. I've said this before, and I'll say it again.
Exactly.
We are
Exactly.
the only people that can stop ourselves from creating better and greater content. We can have all the encouragement in the world, but the moment we start thinking negatively about ourselves, about our content, about what we're doing, we can really put a real kibosh on absolutely any sort of future endeavors that we wish to kind of go down for real. So yeah, like if we strive for greatness, we can achieve it. Like also
Yeah, and
yeah.
I also think it's important to say if you want to be a streamer, don't do it for the money. Don't do it for the money. Never start because of the money. Start because you want it, and you really you will have a good time. Not the money.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
What I've noticed sometimes about smaller streamers is they're so concerned about getting affiliate that they will stream for 6-8 hours a day. They will stream the same game. They will see it as a grind.
Mhm.
Now, from my personal experience, now this is me as a viewer now.
Mhm.
I come into someone's stream,
Please.
I like to be welcomed. I like big energy. I don't really mind what game you're playing because I don't think the game makes the content. I believe the streamer makes the content. Like how they're engaging in the game, how they're reacting, how they're enabling themselves to make it their own.
And that's actually
So-
how I fell into your and Raf's chat, and just continue to stay because I think it's perfect, just perfect.
I think it's important to welcome each viewer into your chat because they are coming into your chat. They're watching your stream, so make sure you're welcoming them. Ask them how their day is. You know what have they been doing. Enable the conversation to start flowing and carry it on from there. And to keep them there, being slouched over, not saying anything whilst playing the game. For me personally, that's not going to keep you there.
No, yeah, for real. I think
What's going to keep people there 9 times out of 10 is either big gameplays, impressive gameplays, which, I'm sorry, you might be good, but you're not that good. So I think being big energy, big hype, just being yourself will keep a lot of people there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But things are on that
As,
same
as
note.
I think Angels said earlier also, that was why she is going to stay in Raf's chat, because the first time she was writing in the chat, she felt a warm welcome, and that's just important.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, no, for real.
I mean, not only does Raph make people feel welcome, but some people he has his own gifts with
Yeah,
sound
exactly,
alerts on them.
exactly. But it's just example. It's just an example. When you write there, you will get the warmest welcome you ever could have asked for. Oh, step, bro. So yeah.
I think as much as
We can't forget the.
and I think it's as much as it's important to kind of welcome people immediately. I think there's a way to do it as well, because some people get so overwhelmed where the spotlight's immediately turned on them that it's a good idea as well to come up with your own ice-breaking techniques as well. Be it like a quote that you like to make, a wacky response, or don't kind of hit someone with the immediate love and attention, because they can either have one or two sort of things. Either you have a ways sort of feeling, which is I feel loved and appreciated, I feel wanted, which is grand, and you will come back to that. But also, you can scare people off because it's so much energy. Like, hi, how are you? Oh, fuck, and immediately hide under a rock. But I think it's definitely something that that is unique down to the actual streamer as well, to make them feel welcome. Be it a weird joke, unique sort of outlook, or even as a wacky icebreaker. I think they've kind of driven to me more where I had someone in my stream yesterday that was cracking dad jokes, and these dad jokes were funny as fuck. They weren't like, oof, like that's a dad joke, like you used to go back under your rock and then never come back out again. But these were actually like, they actually had chat in hysterics, and I think I see more XDs and laughing emotes in that one chat alone because of the dad jokes, for real. But anyway, obviously talking about greatness and amazing people, Away with Angels, how did you start your sort of streaming career? You said you only started about 2 weeks ago, so what got you into it?
Honestly, I've wanted to stream for the longest time. Like when I was in uni, some of my mates would watch me play video games, even just sat in my room, and I'd be sat there talking to myself and talking them through the game, and they'd be like, why don't you go online with this? Like, why don't you stream it? And I wanted to, but at the same time, I was terrified of it. Like, I was so scared of sitting down, playing a game absolutely terribly. Because I'll admit, I'll be the first person to admit that I am not the best gamer. So I was terrified of sitting there, playing a game badly, and then people coming into my chat and judging me for it. And that was my biggest fear, and I think that's what stopped me for ages. And then I met Connor, Grizzly and he sort of welcomed me
He's my
into...
bae.
It's everyone's bae.
Oh, man.
No, he's my babe. Can't happen.
I managed to be his number one for about 5 seconds. Then Angels came. What about me? What about me? Okay, I'll just sit back. Thanks, Chris. Thanks.
She only thinks
Um,
she's his number one, but no.
It was in Rap's chat. I remember it clearly.
But he welcomed me into this amazing community of the Twitch fam and everything, and it got to a point where I just thought, fuck it, I've wanted to do this for long enough, I'm just gonna do it. It's gonna be one of those things that I'm just gonna dive into. I'm gonna get all the advice that I can from these amazing people, and I think my first stream was amazing. Like, I averaged 14 viewers from it.
First
To
stream,
me,
14 viewers.
yeah.
Holy fuck.
Like, I had 53 unique viewers in that stream, and the fact that 53 people would want to come in and see me play Paul in the terrible, terrible way that I did, and would stick around long enough to, you know, to like pop up in my chat, or even just to stick around and lurk for a little while. The thought of that many people wanting to be there was insane to me. And that sort of spurred me to keep going and just try and make the best I can out of it.
Absolutely, that's absolutely awesome. So you said beforehand as well that you wanted to try it in uni, and this kind of question goes to everyone right now in this little Concord that we have. Why did it take us so long to do this?
I never knew about it. That's my honest answer. I never knew that Twitch was a thing. I never knew that streaming games was a thing. It was only, I think, at the start of the year where I found out, oh, there's this thing called Twitch TV. Oh, people play games on there. Neat. And then I made an account. It was like, oh, there's these people. Oh, some of my friends are streamers too. And then all of a sudden, I got the idea to stream, and that was it. So it was basically just not knowing about Twitch being a thing. Because as I said before, I fell out of being a gamer because of real life commitments. So my extent of gaming was playing FIFA, playing the occasional other game. So that's pretty much it.
Actually, my first stream to Twitch was also because I saw the button on the PlayStation. So, oh, Twitch? What the fuck is Twitch? I know YouTube. I know you. Yeah, I know you. YouTube, yes, but Twitch? What the fuck? Twitch? Ah, okay. It seems pretty cool. Fuck this! I'm just streaming, and that was it. And I actually remember I have streamed one time before, back in I think last year, August or February. Somewhere between there, I was streaming VR for my PlayStation, Surgeon Simulator, to YouTube. Yes, just saw it on my on my YouTube channel. So, a pretty long time ago, I couldn't even remember it, but yeah, but I didn't know Twitch. Actually, the streaming stuff, I started it because I saw the button. Do you want to go live? Oh yeah. I'm online. I'm live. What the fuck? So yeah.
What about you, Raf?
What about me?
Yeah. What was why did it take you so long to get into streaming? What was hampering you?
Confidence. Believe it or not, it was all down to confidence. Pretty much throughout my entire gaming career, and actually down to like one of my closest friends and probably the best friend I have in this entire world. He always said to me, like, you know, you should probably give streaming a try. And there was a stage where my entire gaming group were all streaming at one point, and they all dropped off because they weren't getting the results that they wanted. And I hear myself talk on a daily basis, you know, either through conversations and stuff like that. I never thought that my sense of humor, my voice, my gameplay would ever attract people to want to watch my games. So as you know, I never really took it like seriously at all, and I kind of just sat there and I went, it's like, no one's gonna want to listen. No one's gonna want to listen. And then as kind of like time progressed, I had more people would say to me, like either through work aspects or just gaming groups, like what are you doing with yourself? Either in my current job as well, I've kind of got like a couple of people that I have left now the company, have gone to do better things. It's just why are you here? You could do so much better, something so much better. And it kind of got to the point where we had the first major lockdown. I think this is where people say 2020 was the year of the streamer. I don't think they're lying. I fell into a gaming group that we played Monster Hunter World quite seriously, and then me and this one dude just got really we got really friendly. We kind of got to know each other quite drastically. And he says, dude, I would watch your YouTube stuff if you were to start producing videos of just games. I was just like, I'm gonna do it. Alright, I've got nothing to lose. I'm playing video games. I might as well stream some of this content as well. And yeah, so I started. I made a YouTube. I made a YouTube VOD. I made a YouTube channel, and I started streaming pretty much every day, different games, some different various different sort of like difficulties and stuff like that. Got myself a microphone that had decent audio quality, because I tend to find like I bought so many different headphones over the years, like from basic 360 microphones that literally plug in via auxiliary jack to now this high-end USB one, and I think by far this is probably got the best one that captures my voice at its best. And yeah, like I just started producing content since, and I think it's just down to the fact it was just confidence that kind of stopped me from doing it. And obviously, as kind of Flavy said as well, as kind of the consoles progressed, and the PS4 now makes it so easy that you can just stream just by pressing the broadcast button on the controller. And it's now become a lot more convenient now to be able to stream. Now beforehand it used to be you had to get a capture card, had to sync it in, you had to have a computer that could run the software or a broadcasting service. Now it's just as easy as flicking a button and just on your way. But yeah, that's what kind of stopped me, and what's going to took as long as I did to start streaming.
And I think for me as well, it was the fact that I was big into watching like gaming YouTubers, and they were all like massive people, like Jacksepticeye, PewDiePie, and they streamed, and I was like, well, Twitch is obviously for like people who already had a fan base, people who were already out there, and they use that as like an outlet for getting to know their people that were watching them. So I was like, Twitch was not made for people like me who just want to game, have a chat with people, and just have a chill out time. It was for people who were using gaming as like their main source of income. So I always thought that I could never stream on Twitch because I'm not looking to make Twitch or gaming my full-time job. Until I met you guys, and I was like, oh, so smaller streamers can still have their place on Twitch and do everything that the bigger guys do, just with a much smaller audience.
Yeah, no, I think that's the kind of main thing as well, is everyone started at the same point. Everyone started at 0 or 1, and it's all about growing from there. So again, it kind of drives that same point again. We are our own limiters. We can sit there and go, we don't want to do this because I don't have a fan base, or we don't want to do this because it seems so big and scary. But generally, everyone started from 0, and I'm pretty sure right now, Away with Angels is the biggest testament to the fact that you do it the right way, the beginning of your career could start off with a massive bang. Like is absolutely crazy, real. But
I think Beck is perfect example of networking working. Like you look at mine and Fav's first streams. What was mine was 0.3, Fav's was 0.9, Beck's first average 14. That is insane.
That is
And that's
really incredible.
because she put in, I would say put in the work, but it's not really work when you're meeting new people. Put in the time to meet these people, to spend time with them, to get to know them, for us to get to know her. And when she notification, or when we get the notification saying Away with Angels is going live, we were like, let's go make her first stream the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was amazing because
And she
we were
didn't
all
hit
there. And we all know ourselves. We've all had our first streams. We've all started from square one. Which is one thing I wanted to ask. I think, Fabian, you mentioned about your first ever stream. Obviously, Becky's first ever stream was Portal. And Raph, what was your first stream, bud?
Oh, are we talking on YouTube or are we talking on Twitch?
First ever broadcast.
A first ever
so
broadcast.
Can be on any platform.
You know what? Give me a second.
What was your first
I will
broadcast?
actually have to bring that up on my. No, my
Camp
first.
Girl website does not count.
God damn it!
Guys, I was just streaming it.
I think my first ever game that I streamed was Star Wars Fallen Order, and it took me 15 parts, so 15 hours to complete the game from beginning to end on YouTube. Because I don't know if anyone's played it. It's basically if Star Wars and Dark Souls had a Disney baby, and it was an incredibly difficult game. It was an incredibly difficult game, and that's the first one that I started on there. And I had my lover at the time and her son watch me play it because they were just interested in seeing me play. And then as time progressed, I went on to Twitch. My first broadcast on Twitch was a massive open party game of Ark, and I think we had 14 people on that game with us, and we were all just messing around. And literally, it took like 2 weeks of orchestrating, get everyone on the same time zone, to try to like match up 14 people's worth of stuff from like US down to the UK. And yeah, like literally we had a massive game of Ark, and that's what started and opened up the Twitch with a bang.
Nice.
Which was, yeah, that's my first game there. I think my starting view count in October was mental please. Go back a few tabs. And my laptop, I think, is currently overheating and maybe wanting to die because everything is wigging out over here.
Big oof.
Yeah, it is, man. My relic is having a tantrum. Let's go into
Potato.
Yeah, potato with my hamster running its ball around the back there to try and keep the power running.
Ref, just a quick question.
Yeah.
Can people see the chat?
Yes.
On
Yeah,
my
you
one,
can, but
on my
can.
screen, no, they can't. Due to the fact
Oh,
that
perfect.
I've got the full screen up there, and it's just your two lovely faces currently just sitting on there. Because obviously some of the things that we've spoken about in our lovely little chat, I did not say for work, so I'm trying to find a way to to make it a little bit more safe, you know. My channel analysis. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. So
I'm trying to do the safe stuff.
No, that's absolutely trying to do the safe stuff. I love that. Yeah, I'm trying to do the safe stuff, guys. I'm trying.
The safe stuff, not sick stuff. Safe stuff.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Oh, wow.
Okay, yeah. So my first stream was on the 6th of October, and we had an average of 7.5 views on Ark.
Wow.
Holy shit.
So from So, were you also networking before you did your first stream, or was that followers from previous platforms?
So that was, I said, like I was kind of known to like a few different gaming groups. So I had, people that I met through work. Actually, I had one of my mods and admins for both my Discord and my Twitch. He introduced me to his two close friends, and we kind of played Siege and Overwatch together. And then, obviously, before that, I had my group that I played Monster Hunter World with, and they were interested in playing Ark. And I had a few friends that I met on Call of Duty playing Warzone, and they wanted to play Ark. And it was kind of like, I guess in respect, I was kind of networking, but not networking. I was actually making friends as a general sort of way. And I think that's where the biggest thing kind of comes into play with that is networking isn't just trying to grab someone's attention and making them befriend you. It's actually making friends, actually going out there and getting to know the individuals behind the personas, behind the microphone, behind the streams, getting to know them as an individual, as a person. Because I think statistically speaking, you're 40% more likely to go and support a friend in anything, be it, they're playing basketball for the first time, they got them to the first tournament, to watching them go into their first concert, playing the violin for the first time or whatever. So yeah, like you're 40% more likely to go and like support a friend in something. I think that's the main thing that we need to think about as well. Is like networking isn't a way to captivate someone into almost. Are you trying to mount your laptop there, Fabi? You got. I felt like you always came through my screen.
Okay. The thing is, I just downloaded a pic of my dog. My mom just posted to Instagram, and I have the cam on my phone, and it's standing right between my two screens on a roll of toilet paper. So. The file, the picture was saved on the desktop, but behind my phone, so I had to look it up and see, okay, where the fuck do I click now? And that's the story. Yeah. And I
that's pretty
don't
intense.
even think I got the pic of the dog. I got a lot of shitty files instead.
Penis pics. But yeah, like, and I think that's. Yeah, I was kind of networking, but I was networking a different way. And actually, the same way that I still network now is I'm out there to know the person behind there. As much as Twitch doesn't like the whole follow for follow sort of thing, I will always follow back someone who follows me, because how else am I meant to know you as an individual? How else am I meant to find you? Because the world is massive, it's huge. How am I going to go to Denmark, especially right now? A COVID situation. I'm never going to meet Favi normally, or Valgor, or Aways, So yeah, that's why I think it's very important to sit there and actually kind of talk to people and kind of befriend them. So yeah, I think in a way I was kind of networking, far before I realized what networking really was.
Can I just point
Even
out?
when. Oh, sorry.
Can I just point out that you call Beck anything apart from Away with Angels or Beck Aways? What is that? Aways. Sorry, carry on. What were you saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're more than welcome in Denmark after COVID.
Thank you.
Well, my big goal for this year, in particular, is once that lockdown has died down. It doesn't have to necessarily mean that COVID has been eradicated, because, in my personal opinion, that's going to be a long time coming.
Yeah.
But when the restrictions are lifted somewhat, definitely one of my main goals is to meet Raf in person.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm guessing you're not too far away from me in terms of being in the same country, so
Yeah, that's true.
I'ma find you.
Yeah,
I don't
Is it
drive.
1 hour away from me?
To be
1 hour
honest,
in a plane.
literally, I
On a
think
plane.
generally it's like it's a small train journey up to see or down to see Belgor. I'm pretty sure it's the same sort of thing to go and see Always, or with, or Ange. You know, and you
I
say
like
this,
to
it's
call
like
it hour.
hour.
EWA hour.
As Fabi said, it's like an hour to go and see him in Denmark. You know, I'm definitely building up a massive list of what I want to go and do in respect of like meeting people and stuff like that, because I want to meet everyone for real, like everyone that I've come in contact with and grown to be friends with. I want to actually meet you face to face, you know, because I think it's going to be, definitely a massive party, for real, like absolute. I generally think it could be.
I have the beer pong ready.
Yeah, nice. I think I'm gonna come back with a damaged liver from Denmark. Alcohol poisoning.
We are
you
the
on
most
flight
drinking country.
69 at 4:20, blazing airways.
Hey.
Hey.
But yeah, like I generally think, you know, as for kind of the closing point to this stream, because I don't want to drag it on for too long, because I know everyone's kind of got, I know Fabi's got some things he needs to do today, as well as a few of us people here as well.
Wait, this is a stream? I thought this was a
Wait,
podcast.
what? Oh my god.
Are we streaming?
What?
I had you all fooled. I'm joking. No, it's only being recorded. Don't worry.
So, no, okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, then it's fine. Then it's okay. Okay.
So, you know, if we could inspire someone at the end of this first episode alone, you know, what would be our parting words of wisdom to help get someone started?
To get started into streaming, I would say meet people first. See how other people's do it. How other people do it. Ask for advice. Don't. If I was to go back and do things over again, I would probably do like Becky has done and spend the first few weeks meeting people, supporting others. Because I've got to admit, 80% of what I do when I'm not streaming is probably worth more than that other part that is actually streaming related, whether it's going live, whether it's working on things like sound alerts and stuff like that. It's the networking, it's being with other people, it's being in other discords, and I think meeting people is so important when it comes to streaming, because gaining those relationships, gaining people to work with, I think that's worth more than anything else, because then you're giving yourself the best possible opportunity to get to hit those goals when it comes to your average views and your follows, because everything else is arbitrary, because the amount of time you stream is down to you. So I think that is important. And also schedule properly. Don't stream for too long. 2 to 3 hours, I think, is perfectly reasonable. And depending on who you network with, whether it's people in the same country or people in different time zones, try and consider everyone to give yourself the best possibility of enabling people to support you. Because if you stream at the ass crack of dawn in a certain country, people aren't going to be able to watch you. So I think that's probably the best piece of advice I can give someone.
I can completely agree there. And the fact of don't be afraid to ask for help when you're starting up. I know I can be helpful at some point. I will help all that I can, and I know Ref is doing the same, and probably also Angels and Valgor. And pretty much the most of all streamers out there, if you just nicely ask for help and you have networked with them in an amount of time, they will be free to help you. That isn't bad. It's a good point.
Absolutely. Hour. Have you got any sort of words of wisdom to kind of impart?
I was wondering who you were talking to.
I don't know either.
So away with Becky's. No, back with Angels.
Becky's away. No, Becky's here. Becky's here. Yes.
I think probably my biggest piece of advice is to not be afraid of failure, because at the end of the day, even if you get 2 or 3 viewers, you've not failed. You've still entertained those 2 or 3 people for however long you've streamed. And if you've managed to keep them around for your entire stream, they're going to tune in again. And they're probably going to tell people about you, or, they're going to get to a point where they want to host you, or, they want to put you out there a bit more because you're entertaining them. So even if it's your first stream and you have a viewer average of 0.2 or something, you have still had people come in and watch you, and you've entertained them, and that is not failure. Just because you've not turned around and got 50, 60 viewers in your first stream doesn't mean that it's not worth carrying on with it.
No, absolutely. I think they're right there. That's probably like the best piece of advice you can give anyone at all, is don't be afraid of failure. Like, absolutely. I think we have, like, over a period of time, ever since kind of like childhood into adulthood, we've viewed failure as a negative thing, and it's never meant to be the case. Failure isn't a bad force to have, because every time that you slip and fall, you get back up, you dust yourself off, and you carry on walking forward. You don't ever lay on the ground going, you don't ever sit there and kind of like in sort of
Not that.
I think for me, as a personal piece of advice to give anyone who is starting, is just kind of summarize everything that everyone said here today. Is don't limit yourself, don't put yourself down, don't get into that negative mind frame. Start with, and almost have this like to hell with the consequences mindset of, it doesn't matter what the end result is. Just drive the point home that Awa said was, as long as you are entertaining at 0.3 or 0.1 or 17, it's always going to be a positive. Don't sit there and don't compare yourself to anyone else but you, because you are the only you around. And network right away. Talk with people, get to know them immediately. Don't network with false pretenses. Network with the idea of being their friend and getting to know the person behind that microphone. And I think that
Honestly,
is.
can I just say, when I first started networking with people, I didn't go about it because I wanted them to tune into my streams, because at that point I didn't even know I was going to be streaming. I started networking with people because I found them to be genuinely friendly and kind-hearted people that I wanted to get to know and I wanted in my friend group.
Yeah.
I didn't sort of even think about starting streaming until after I'd already started talking to them and had become friends with them.
No, absolutely. And just to kind of end this with a question: what is stopping you from achieving greatness? And with that brings an end to our first episode. I hope you enjoyed it and got a better feel for us as people, and feel like this could be the start you needed to embark on your own epic adventures. A massive thank you to Away with Angels, Valgo Wolfsbane, and Favienne. Our email is thedreamsthatwedream@hotmail.com, and that will be in the description below, allowing you to contact us with any questions you may have regarding future episodes. Thank you so much. I hope you have a pleasant day.